Motherfucker.
Hold on, I hope y'all watching this shit.
First round, real quick.
People that are in those training rooms with him know how good he is.
Because he just knocks dudes out real quick in the first round.
Yeah, but now we're gonna get a good. I might fuck with this guy. He just, to me, I thought he was a con artist. No, just based off his look.
They're edgy.
Holy shit! What the hell just happened?
What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome to G.S.R. Well, excuse me, today we're GWR, Gonzo's Wrestling Room. We got a big interview today. We recorded a couple days ago. Great conversation with the right hand of God, Sam Knight. Looking forward for you guys to finally getting to hear this interview. Before we get to that, don't forget we're live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern with Easy Money, a sports betting show. Come join us. We're giving out winners. We're also live Monday, Wednesday, Friday with G.S.R. Gonzo Sports Room. That's our sports talk show. Coming real soon, we're going to be starting a weekly podcast, GWR Gonzo's Wrestling Room, and start doing all of our wrestling stuff on there. So keep a lookout for that. You can find us also GSR and Easy Money, a sports betting show. Both shows you can find in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Most places you listen to podcasts, you can find us. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at Gonzo Sports Room. That's where we post all the information about all of our shows. We post our daily sports picks there. So follow us on social media so you don't miss anything. Again, that's Gonzo Sports Rooms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check out our YouTube page. Please hit that subscribe button. Check out our merch store, streamlabs.com/Gonzalez Sports/merch. Got a lot of different t-shirts, hats, and stuff on there. There's also a donation page at that same link if you'd like to donate to the show to help the show grow. We'd appreciate that as well. All right. Before we get to the Sam Knight interview, we're also going to be live this Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, with the live watch along and reaction to Sunday Night Football, Colts versus 49ers. So come join us for that Sunday night at 8. But all right, we're going to air this conversation we had Monday afternoon. Great conversation with the pro wrestler, the right hand of God, Sam Knight. He's been in the business like 17 years. So check out this interview. Hope you guys like it. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think of it. And I will see you guys here after the interview. I'll be back on and we'll talk about the interview a little bit. But without further ado, enjoy this great conversation with the right hand pro wrestler, the right hand of God, Sam Knight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us today, the right hand of God, Sam Knight. He's a professional wrestler. I'm Chris Gonzalez. We've got Eric Gonzalez right here. How you doing today, Sam?
Good, man. How you guys doing? Thank you for having me, by the way. But how you guys doing?
Oh, doing great. Thank you for coming on. I know you're a very, very busy man, and you get around a lot to a lot of shows. We've seen a lot of your matches.
Yeah.
On YouTube and all over Facebook, and you get around all over the place, huh?
I'm trying, man. That's the way you get noticed.
Yeah.
You stay busy. Stay busy.
So, what was the last place that you were just in? The last match you had?
This past weekend, I was in Homer, Illinois, against Freddie Hudson, the Hornet Freddie Hudson, and it was a match for the number one contendership to the UWC Alpha and Omega Championship. So that was pretty fun. Freddie's a great competitor. He's one of the guys I actually love working with. So that was a great match. It's close to home, so easy travel night.
Yeah. So, what got you into the professional wrestling? When was your first time training, or like what was it that got you to notice it, or was you just a fan like all the rest of us were growing up as a kid?
I started off as a fan. And I didn't really know professional wrestling until like 6th grade. Like I'd seen it before, because as a child, my parents are they're Christian parents. They raised us right, and my mom didn't like us watching the Power Rangers or Ninja Turtles and stuff like that because it was violent. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch it anyways and sneak it and watch it, whatever. So, and if my mom sees this, I'm sorry, Mom, I never said that. But I remember I was in the kitchen one Saturday and I saw they were showing clips from The Undertaker and Paul Bearer. And Paul Bearer had his show. I think it was like the Parlor or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. And he was introducing The Undertaker. And I remember the dark green background. I'm just like, oh, that's pretty cool. But it wasn't until I got into 6th grade that I really fell in love with wrestling. I remember trading my PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy VII game for the Royal Rumble 1999.
That's a good game.
I remember that. I remember it. And I remember the match that got me hooked was The Rock versus Mankind in an I Quit match for the WWF Championship.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was at the Arrowhead Pond, now the Honda Center. It was at the Arrowhead Pond, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. And I remember my dad and I were watching it together, and my dad's like, that stuff's fake, right? Shut up, Dad. That's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So from that point on, man, and The Rock was the guy I wanted to be. Oh, I just wanted to be The Rock so bad. I started buying the shirts in high school. I was wearing the swap me shirts that looked like they were nice dress-up shirts. I was standing in the mirror trying to do the people's eyebrow, holding my eyebrow up. Looking back on that now, I'm like, God, what was wrong? But then as I got older, got into high school, we started to backyard wrestle. Everybody who wants to watch wrestling does backyard wrestling at some point in time. I don't care who you are. Mm-hmm. You've had a mattress in someone's backyard and y'all throwing each other around or on the grass or whatever.
Oh yeah, we did that in the backyard off the trampoline onto it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, but I was really good at some of the moves, but I had no idea how it was supposed to be done. Mm-hmm. So I could do a vertical suplex. I can do a spear, which is why it's one of my moves. I played football. Clotheslines were easy, stuff like that. But with the guys that I wrestled with in the backyard, I kind of took it more serious. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that feeling of this is what I want to do when I grow up became me falling in love with it. And I ended up graduating high school, which let's rewind for a little bit. Because in high school, I was wrestling on the south side of the school. It was funny because everyone knew that's what I did. Even though I played football, at breaks and lunches, I was outside wrestling with my friends. And people would come and watch us wrestle, or we wrestle in the back of the school. Yeah, I'll never forget one time during my homeroom class. It was so embarrassing, but it was funny. So, and if any of my friends who are watching on Facebook from high school, you'll probably remember this. I was sitting in my homeroom class, and they go over the PA system. There will be no wrestling on the south side of the school. And my whole class looks at me and goes, Isaac. And I went, So it was fun. It was something to be remembered for. Graduated high school. I graduated at 17. I turned 18 a week later. I had my scholarship to go play ball. Some things that happened where I couldn't go. But I found a wrestling school. Well, I went to an independent wrestling show. I had never heard of independent wrestling because it was WWE or bust. Right. That's what it was for me. Granted, I watched WCW. I remember the Nitro and Raw feud. I remember all that. Yeah. But it was like, I'm only watching WWE. So I went to a show in Bellflower, California. It's where I met. It was me and my best friend, Kyle McGuire. Love you, guy. We met Mr. Impact, Michael Kears, and God rest his soul because he passed away a few years back. But Michael introduced us to hybrid pro wrestling. And I think that's what it was, hybrid pro wrestling, HPW. I think that's what it was, in Bellflower. And that's where a lot of the NWA guys were. Joey Ryan, Carl Anderson, Los Luchas, all these guys were on this show. And then some guys you may have not heard of, Rico Dynamite, who became one of my trainers. And so I was asking, like, where can I get into this? And then, Mike was like, well, they train out of a backyard. Let's go back to backyard wrestling. So they train out of a backyard. You should come. Cool. So me and Kaiwan and my friend Luis Ayala, who became a pro wrestler as well, we end up traveling to this house in Norwalk, California. And we walk in this backyard and there's this ring set up. And I'm in awe. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this is really getting ready to happen. And mind you, prior to that, I had looked into the R1 Center, which is UPW's second base, and I had looked into APW and NorCal. I even spoke to the late great Roland Alexander about me coming to train there, but there was no way in hell I was going to make it up north because I wasn't even driving yet. So this was the place to start training. So we run classes a couple weeks. Honorable mentions. I had the opportunity to. I was training with Thunder Kitty, who has now taken off. And love her truly. We started training together. And then I will never forget Joey Chaos, Supreme, Angel, and Jezebel all walked into the backyard one Saturday. And I remember going, I know them. I've seen them on television, but I don't really know them. My boy Juan, who had also came to watch, he's marking out. I mean, losing it. Oh my God, that's Kid Chaos. That's Supreme. That's Angel. I'm like, and they also brought Mongo for a tag team. And they started training us, and that was the beginning of Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy, which is now one of the biggest wrestling schools in the state of California, in the United States, period. Wow. People know who the Santino Brothers are. If you don't know, figure it out quickly. So started at Santino Brothers, start training, and this is where the lazy bones came in. I didn't take it serious. And I will openly admit that, like Khan will tell you, when I did his podcast, I was open about that. I didn't take the wrestling seriously, so I ended up getting cut from that school. To wrap up this long story short, cut from there, started training at another school, left that school, and then I went to Knox Pro Wrestling Academy, and I learned from Gangrel, Rikishi, and Black Pearl. And those are the men who made me Sam Knight. Nice. They made me who I am now. Nice. Because it was a lot of variables that went into training me to teach me to be who I am. So there's that. That answers that question.
Those are all great guys, man. What more could you have asked for people to help you out than, them three?
And don't get me wrong, like I've had a lot of influences in my career, and a lot of guys who have had one-on-one time with me. Like people talk about going to seminars and stuff. Man, I had it made living in SoCal. Training with Ricardo Rodriguez, Jesus Rodriguez is his name. Training with him, training with my mentor Jeremy Hardy, who is like who's family to the Young Bucks, working with the Bucks when they ran HPW and Hesperia. Getting hands-on training with a lot of Scott Lost, Human Tornado, all these guys who have been in and out of PWG and ROH and all these other places who were coming to train with us, work with us, put time into training guys like myself. I trained in a class with Peter Avalon, who is a great worker, talker. He's everything you want in a professional wrestler. And he was then too. I was behind him. Way behind him. You know what I mean? But being able to see that, see how much hard work he put in and where it got him. Willie Mack is another guy. I went to school with Mack, and looking at Mack now, it's just like, I remember us just sitting there eating dinner, talking about this is what we wanted to do. So, I to say I'm blessed is an understatement, man. Like it's like God looked at me and said, this works for you. We're gonna let you do this, and we're gonna throw all these guys at you so you can learn from them.
That's why you're the
So,
right hand of God.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's on the right hand of God. Yeah.
Yeah, that must feel great to like be able to work with such accomplished people. You know, that way hey, you're not just learning from some guy, that maybe isn't quite up to par of what you want out of yourself and out of your career. Yeah. You know, you're already with people there that's where you want to be.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes there are guys who are accomplished that just did not break through.
Right.
Okay. You have those great carpenters and those great writers and those great artists who are great. I mean, but it just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Never got the break.
And that's it's not a bad thing to learn from those guys, because that doesn't mean they don't have the knowledge to teach you.
Right.
Yeah.
I was blessed to work with the guys who've been there, left, went back there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been blessed to work with guys who were working to get there, got there, and that are there now. And I know plenty of people who are still humble and still respectful and still love to work with younger talent who are on TV weekly. Because we all learned from people who wanted to give back to the business. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you make it in this business, it's not about you making it and you staying on top and you not caring about the younger generation. Because trust and believe, I give a damn about this generation. I give a damn about these guys who are coming up. I'm nobody special. I will openly say that. Khan tells me differently. But I'm nobody special. And the reason why I say that is because if I remain humble and stay grounded, I'll never lose what I was taught.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I have been blessed to work with a lot of people who have taken off past what I could ever see for them, and hopefully my turn's coming. That's why I'm working so hard. That's why I'm everywhere.
When you're breaking into the independent scene, what's the hardest part about it, about getting your name out there and getting bookings?
Being different. You don't want to do what everybody else is doing, because you can watch wrestling and you can see a guy do something, and then you see the next match the next guy does the same thing the guy before did. Right. You're like, where's the difference? Right. You want to be unique. Khan talks about this a lot, and he talked about it on your show last week. He said, Sam came to me and was like, he needed something different. Yeah. I didn't pick Khan because I needed a manager to talk to me.
Right. Yeah.
I picked Khan because I wanted a manager to talk to me. I wanted somebody who had that dynamic. Khan is the type of person that you shine the light on them, it's go time. Oh, and even if you don't shine the light on them, if the light is shined on somebody else, kind of like, you done with it? Let me grab this real quick.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna steal it.
He's gonna put it right there, and he's gonna go, "This is Ala Khan house," like the director. You know how he does it. and I'm just sitting there like, Khan he praises me a lot, and I love that man. Like I do, like the connection him and I have. It's crazy. Like he's a brother from another mother, and the fact that we're from the same area is a big plus.
Yeah.
But Khan's the type of person where it's like he'll look at you and go, "Yo, you can do this." And I'm very positive. If you follow me on social media, I'm very positive. I'm always positive. But Khan's the type of person where he's like, "Yo, man, like, this could work," and blah 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 blah. And he's got that mindset for being so young in this business. Yeah. And so Khan was telling you guys how Sam gave me the opportunity. No, I didn't give Khan anything. He earned his way to me, and that's why it's just been going. Now Khan's doing his own thing and managing other people, and I'm doing my own thing and wrestling other places. But it doesn't mean that there's an issue. Right. It just means that we're both growing, growing different places back together. Does that make sense?
There's enough for everybody to eat.
Exactly, and that's kind of what it was. What I was telling people when I got hurt, because it's well documented that I spent the majority of 2020 on the injured reserve. It's hurt. I blew up my kneecap, and there was a time that I was booking for a company, and I ended up getting relieved of that position. You know, no ill will, no heat, no issues. Let's just move forward. But during that time, I fell into a bit of depression, and Colin was one of the only people that was talking. And and I kept saying to him, "Look, we do this. Everyone has a space, has a seat at the table. Who we want there." And Colin always talks about how I deserve these opportunities, and I say to him, "It's either us together or not at all."
Right.
And I believe that because that's my guy. You look out for people who look out for you, and that goes without saying. I mean, like when you're solid, you look out for your people.
Oh yeah.
There's enough at the table for us to all have. No need to be sitting there being greedy, like holding on to this, like,
right.
Oh, it's all mine. Look forward.
Exactly.
You sit at the top lonely all by yourself.
Right. Exactly. I couldn't have said that no better. But yeah, Con, he definitely radiates energy.
Yeah.
There's no way that it's ever a dull moment around him at all.
Nope. That's my guy, man.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy.
I love watching him because he reminds me of the old school managers, and I love that. And I don't think there's enough of that in wrestling now.
Yep.
So the thing is, in wrestling now, everybody wants to have the spotlight on them, and Khan and I kind of compliment each other because Khan's still learning, but listen to how I put this. Khan's still learning, but he's learning. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. He's still learning how to be a manager, but he's learning the right way by studying the greats and knowing when to insert his moments and when to pull back. Khan said it himself, and I listened to the podcast he did with you guys, and he was like, people get so mad because he's always promoting himself. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
As a professional wrestler, it is not the promoter's job or the booker's job to push you. You push yourself. You get out your content. You tell people where you are. You blow up different avenues of social media. And that's how you get eyes on you. Not sitting back doing this. I'm just going to wait and I'm going to keep flipping, but I'm going to wait for somebody to pay attention to me. Right. And my problem was I was like, I'm good and everyone's telling me I'm good. And I'm going to keep wrestling in Indiana. Bro, when I came back from injury, I'm everywhere. And Khan's like right there with me, pushing it. Like, yo, we're going to keep pushing this to the moon. We're going to keep putting out content. I have so much stuff that's coming up the pipeline. Not just me, Khan too. Like Khan's pushing this NWA thing. People would think I'm upset about that. Nah, bro. I want my mans to get on TV and be there with Pope. I want that.
Exactly.
Because once Khan gets there, it's like, all right, I'm not far behind. And even if it's not NWA for me, wherever it is, my guy is there. My guy who's doing all my content, pushing out all my stuff, somebody's going to pay attention at some point.
Oh, yeah.
You work with each other and help each other, and that's how you build. Instead of just sitting back waiting for somebody to do it for you. I mean, I work hard, and I believe that there's no cheat in the grind. One of the things, Alexander Hammerstone, shout out to MLW's heavyweight champion. Alexander Hammerstone is one of the guys I followed for a long time on social media. And I would get in his inbox once in a blue moon, periodically. And so I messaged him one day and I was asking him how he keeps himself in great shape. Because I was having a hard time with losing weight. And he said, the one thing I can tell you is don't cheat the grind. Don't cheat yourself. I apply that to life. A person can sit here and tell you they work hard, but they're not. You can see it. But a person who works hard doesn't have to tell you, oh man, I'm always working. You'll see it. Mm-hmm. And every single time you look at my social media, I'm doing something.
Yep.
And in my personal life, I'm doing something to stay busy.
Yeah.
Proof's in the pudding. Don't cheat the grind.
And you've got a long list of like some pretty well known and pretty respected guys that you've faced in the ring, that you've worked with. And can you tell us a little bit about some of your favorite ones and some of the more memorable moments of your career that you've had so far that were milestones to you?
I'm going to start with this one because I don't talk about it much. Mike King. Mike King is a man who doesn't get the respect he deserves. Because Mike King has a brain for psychology. He gets it. And I remember one night, it was the night that I believe I won the DCCW Heavyweight Championship. I believe that's what it was. And actually, no, that wasn't the night. It was the first time we wrestled each other because the night I won it, he was hurt. But Mike and I wrestled and did nothing. We did nothing. We just brawled around the building and rolled back in. And it was there. The crowd was there for it all. And I remember him and I talking during the match, and we're laughing because we knew we weren't doing anything. And we didn't have to really call much. It was we were vibing off each other. Moments like that, those are organic. And I believe that Mike King is a guy who deserves those moments, those accolades of yeah, man, he can go. He's a great worker. The first time him and I met, we tagged together in Indianapolis, and we just hit it off like that because I told him who trained me, and he was like, "Bro, that's my guy." I was like, "Oh shit, okay, cool. Let's talk some more." And then lo and behold, we just became best friends. Yeah. So Mike King, we're facing Mike King is on top, one of the top of my list. He's a guy I really want to get back in there with.
Yeah, he's a great guy, a friend of ours.
Elijah, yeah, he's a great guy. Elijah Burke. Oh, what can you say about working Pope?
Right.
It was a learning experience. People don't throw me. I don't get thrown around. It doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. And it happened. And he took me past my limit. I remember at the end of that match, as I was huffing and puffing, we were in the back, and he goes, "Sam got blown up." I could have kept going. That's what he said. And I looked at him. I thought in my head, "Yes, sir." He goes, "But you didn't quit." "Yes, sir." He goes, "And that's what's going to make you great." Yeah. "Thank you so much, sir." And really, that's really what it was. Chris Masters, that was a fun one for this year. That's a highlight for this year. Learned a lot from working with Chris. Justin Kyle, one of my best friends out the ring, one of my greatest rivals in the ring. I've had some great highlight matches when I worked for New Wave Pro, working with Jason Levi. Working with Jason Levi was fun. And for that time, it was what I needed to get me out of the funk I was in. Mm-hmm. I've worked multiple names. Kevin Thorne. I've tagged with Zach Gowen, Lance Hoyt, Gangrel, Rikishi, and more. So many more. And those are always highlights for you because you see these guys on television. Right. And you're like, "Oh my God, I get to work with them, but I have to be professional. So let's push that down and go be professional."
Right.
There's another highlight for me that didn't involve me, and I'll talk about this one, and then we can get back to questions. Justin Kyle versus Rhino at AWR last month. A lot of people who know me know that Kyle is one of my best friends. We got real close, real fast. We've been through a lot together, which is what makes us brothers. And I watched my best friend pin Rhino, and I teared up. Because I remember when I hugged him at the end of the match, I said, that was our childhood right there. That's like me pinning Goldberg.
Right, yeah.
You feel me? Mm-hmm. Or me facing The Rock. Me not pinning The Rock, facing The Rock. It's like, oh, man, this is happening. Like, you know what I mean? So when I saw Spear 1, 2, 3, tears. Psychology-wise, you know the match, you know the business, you know what's going on. Especially when you're in the back, you know everything that's going to happen. But when it happens, and you see it happen for a person who deserves, a person who works hard, who helped you start working hard, because Justin is responsible for me finally getting my head out my butt and starting to really work and not cheat in the grind. And when you see somebody who works hard get what they deserve, man, it is the most fulfilling feeling in the world. And I was so happy for him. So that was a highlight for me. You know, nobody else may have cared, but I did.
Yeah,
it mattered to me.
I mean, it's always great when you can see your people do well, you know.
Yeah.
And if people don't like to see other people do well, then they got problems.
And that's legit. That's legit, Oos, because I don't wrestle for me anymore. I wrestle for my legacy. And my legacy doesn't just include what I'm doing. It includes the people around me. Mm-hmm. Personal life and professional. So when people mention the name Sam Knight, all you're going to hear is positive, because this is what I want to leave behind when I'm done and done. God willing, I make it somewhere. But if I don't, I want people to remember that man worked his butt off and that man helped me. And that's really what's important to me. You know, it's not about championship belts. God knows I've held many. It's not about big matches, because I've had those. It's about leaving a long-lasting impression on this business, leaving my mark on the business, so people remember what I did while I was involved.
What was it like going and working with the OVW?
Oh my God! So I've done
great, right?
I've done TV before. I did WWE back in 2013. I was one of the security guards that Stephanie McMahon called out to escort Daniel Bryan backstage. Oh, nice. Now Bryan Danielson, which was very nerve-wracking because I was in Anaheim at the Honda Center, the first big building I saw wrestling at. It was nerve-wracking because walking down the ramp, somebody yelled "Knights" in response to the tag team that I'm also still involved in with the Black Knights, because people in Anaheim knew who I was. And it was nerve-wracking because I'm on television in front of all these people, and I've got a guy who can legit kick my butt right here in my face. But you have to learn camera work, learn your spot, and learn not to screw up. Now, taking that, working championship wrestling from Hollywood, doing a battle royal for them, you learn TV. Working Knox Pro, they teach you how to work production, how to work character development, how to do all that. So it's not just the wrestling, it's the character building too. Knowing where the hard cam and the Roman cams are, which a lot of people don't. I was blessed to learn that. So going to OVW wasn't nerve-wracking for that aspect. It was a big bucket list thing for me, because it was somewhere I really wanted to be. Mm-hmm. But then when they were like, okay, we're going to give you a dark match. Cool, I know, you want to get a look at it. Okay, then we're putting you on TV. What? Like, okay, what do you want me to do? They tell me, cool. Huh. It was so smooth. Al Snow is the professional's professional. I mean, the man is so professional, and he's so laid back and so cool. Like, he's not the Al Snow you see on television. Right. He wasn't when I was there, but he was just like, how you doing, Sam? Gave me a fist bump. And he's like, this is what we need from you. Go talk to the agents, figure this out. And then he was gone. And I'm like, are you Batman? I'm like, yeah. Like, where are you? You know, and they had me do this. We filmed this vignette backstage with Ryan Howe and their former heavyweight champion. And we did that. Amazing Maria was there involved with producing. She's a sweetheart. Love her so much. Cool moments, but to be on OVW TV, it was great for me, and it was something I'll never forget, because it was like, I did this because when I was in school, I used to see this in magazines, and this is where some of my favorite guys came out of it. Oh, I'm really in this building right now. This is happening. I remember the drive home and me legit crying, because I'm like, that really happened. No one can take that away from me, you know. Another moment that I can add to legacy, you know. So yeah, that was fun. I'm looking forward to going back. I'm not sure when, but they do want to bring me back, so that should be fun.
Nice. Can't wait to see that. We'll be keeping an eye out for that, definitely.
Yeah, that should be fun. Do you have any like a regular promotion that you're at most of the time, or you just go bounce around just mainly bouncing around a lot of places?
When it comes to professional wrestling, I have become a traveling guy. I don't really have a home promotion anymore. I I was wrestling at DCCW consistently, but my schedule has taken off, so I'm not there consistently. DCCW has done a lot for the Sam Knight brand. That was the birth, the origin of me and Khan's partnership, the place of origin for me and Khan's partnership. But once again, with my schedule, it's kind of hard to just place my head somewhere. UWC, because it's close to home right now, I would say it's the place where I'm most commonly at. It's the place where a few years ago I was the longest reigning online champion. Uh, New Wave Pro was the place that I called home as well. People who know that. But other than that, no, I don't really have a home promotion anymore, and I like it that way. I like being open to wrestle anywhere at any given time. You know, when you lay your head somewhere and say, "This is my home promotion," then you kind of start falling into the category of being obligated to be there all the time. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with loyalty, but I'm 16 years in. I don't want to be stuck in one place forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's no shade, no disrespect to anybody. It's just me saying that that's just a personal decision. I like to travel. I like to go places. I like to see places.
I think I'd like that better because you get to choose who you work with, who you work
Right.
for.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a big thing too, because you're not waiting for said promotion to contact you about working for them. You are constantly out looking for places to go.
Right.
And I've been blessed in 2021 to have people come to me and go, "Hey Sam, we want you for this date. We want you to work this show." Or it's a different, like I even had a situation where I've had two companies hit me up at the same time, and I'm like, "Okay, let's figure it out."
Yeah.
And we have, um, so it's a beautiful thing when you have options and choices, and you have to be smart about those too. Like I'm like I said, I'm 34, 16 years in. My body can't do what it was doing at 21, 25.
Right.
I've got to be smart because I have a life outside of professional wrestling too, which is important to remember.
Right.
Because outside of the character, I'm still a man that has a life. So,
Speaking of the character, how did you come up with the Sam Knight Right Hand of God character, and is it still like a work in progress, or is it like, are you pretty much set with who you are as a character?
so right now, I mean, it's evolution is what I've been preaching about. So
Right.
lately, we're evolving. The Right Hand of God character came from I used to do this thing called e-fetting, online role playing as your favorite wrestler. And I had a character named Chris Vaughn. His moniker was the Right Hand of God. Just came to me one day. So, 2007, my best friend Kaiwan and I went to an autograph signing. Chris Jericho's first book came out. Jericho's an autograph signing. This is a week before he returned back to WWE. People hadn't seen him in years. And so we went to the autograph signing. I was training at AWS Alternative Wrestling Shop in the city of Industry, California. I remember walking up to Jericho with my book, and in the book, you had to post it, and you had to write who you wanted him to address it to. So then my worker name was Bulletproof. Horrible. So he looks at it, he goes, "Who's Bulletproof? Or what's Bulletproof?" I was like, "Oh, that's my wrestling name." He goes, "You're a worker?" I said, "Yeah, man, I'm training at AWS in the city of Industry." He goes, "Oh, Bart, I know who he is." "Yeah, yes, sir." He goes, "Okay." He's like, "You should go with something like the Dark Knight. You're the darkest guy I've ever met." What? And I kind of, and like when I tell this story, everybody laughs, and I'm like, I didn't know if I wanted to punch Chris Jericho, if I wanted to mark out for the fact that he was going to remember me for being the darkest guy he ever met. Which is funny because at my first WWE tryout at the Honda Center, he did remember me. So that kind of made me mark out a little bit being there. But back to the story. I was sitting in front of my computer at home one day, and I was writing this book, which I They ended up losing it all when I left LA. But it's a book called Chosen in Adolescence, and the main character's name was Samuel Simmons. And he later became Samuel Sadism. It's a long story. We'll get to that another time. So I remember sitting there and I'm like, Sam Knight. We'll try this Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wrestling at the Anaheim Marketplace and I said, my name is Sam Knight. And it clicked. And that's who I've been. And I went with the right hand of God, Sam Knight. Because it's backstory, my dad's a preacher, my grandfather's a preacher, my cousin's a preacher. I was called to the ministry at age 11. It all worked. It made sense. Mm-hmm. I am the guy that's going to bring righteousness for God's name's sake. That's what we're going to do. Yep. This militant character. And I ain't never been militant the whole time I've been wrestling. I've been Isaac. I've been me, just turned up to the max. That's what I've been. And then Khan and I decided to go with this prize fighter. And that's just worked. Like this whole, I'm not wrestling for respect. I'm not wrestling for friendship. I just want to get paid. Right. Like I'm looking at promoters going, I'm not even talking to the guy I'm working with. I'm looking at promoters going, you messed up. Why did you even book this? He's not going to last. Just make sure you have my money ready. 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes with it. It's over. And that's and you know, Khan's like, it's not personal. It's business. You know,
you do a perfect imitation of him. You do a perfect imitation of that laugh.
Because I hear it so much. I hear it in your
nightmares, huh?
You know, and Khan, he's like, let me tell you something, Jack. You know, Sam Knight, my prize fighter. He's gonna, and I'm just sitting there going, yeah, tell him, Khan. Like I'm trying to keep the mean face, but in the back, I'm like, yeah, tell him, Khan. Tell him, Khan. Tell him how great I am. Like, you know.
And so, I don't know how you do it and not break character, and because I would be laughing so hard at him. I mean, I don't know
because when it's over. Because when it's over, I know we're gonna get a good belly laugh out of it. And we always do.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's and the prize fighter gimmick has worked, and that's who I've become. You know, even with my training, the boxing training and all that stuff, people are like, you're legit submerging yourself into this character. Yeah. Right. Because Khan is the Don Kingdom, I'm Mike Tyson. Right. He's the guy that's telling people I'm gonna knock him out. And then when I come in, boom, there it is. It's the knockout. Like it works. So yeah.
I think
we've evolved.
Well.
Thank you.
I really like that promo you guys done for the Gang Grill.
Yeah, the Gang Grill was great.
When you guys came out and did that promo was awesome.
So, that started with the first promo I initially cut here, and where I was dressed up as Gangrel, and I started talking straight to him. And Gangrel is a guy that I respect so much on a professional and a personal level. Him and my dad were real tight, and he treated me like he taught me, like I was family to him in training, and he beat the snot out of me in training if I messed up. So knowing that I was going to face Gangrel was a big deal for me. I've faced him twice before this past time I was supposed to. And so it came easy because the thing with promos, the art to a promo is to build your opponent up and then to put them down. Don't trash them because no one's going to care if you beat a guy that you talk mess about the whole time. Mm-hmm. No one cares. If I build you up, people are going to be like, oh, crap, that's going to be a good match because that guy's good too. We know Sam, but now we know this guy is. We're going to check him out. Okay, that's going to be great. But if I'm like, you ain't nothing, you're trash, blah, 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 what's the point in watching that match? I don't want to see it. Exactly. So cutting the promo on Gangrel was I wasn't afraid to take it straight to him. I wasn't afraid to dress up as him. And I did. And it's always been an inside joke where I'm like, me. That's the funny thing. So I remember it clicked one day at work. I'm like, I'm going to dress up like David. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a wig. I'm going to get the whole shirt. I'm going to get the teeth. We're going to do it. And then it was like, wait a minute. Khan's cutting the promo at the show. Khan, I'm going to be Gangrel since he's not going to be there. Khan goes, bro, you're a genius. So Khan goes out there and does what Khan does. Unscripted, nothing planned. This is Khan just talking.
Oh, it was great.
Gangrel's music hits. The crowd's like, yeah! And I walk out and I'm, and I'm, I'm flexing the teeth. I'm doing all that. And then I cut my promo, which unscripted. Mm-hmm. This was just me and Khan. And I remember the next day Khan goes, bro, you were in rare form. I was like, dog, I was just having fun. Like, and that's what happens. And that's the reason why you get a good promo. Nothing scripted, nothing rehearsed. No one's feeding lines to us. It's just us being us.
Oh, it was great. We rewatched that back several times, and we just sit there and laugh. When you're like, "Why is my belt on the ground?"
Well, here's the comical. Here's the funny part about that. So I'm talking, and people are booing me, and then I look over. I'm like, I felt disrespected. So I look over. I'm like, Khan, what's this? Oh, you got me. I don't care. Pick the belt up. Like, what are you doing? You knew we were doing this, bitch. Like, what are you doing? And so,
I've rewatched that part and I've laughed so many times at that. Oh, it's great.
When he came out as Gangrel, the other guy that's usually with
Stevie that's with us,
he went crazy. He said, "What is that?" He didn't know what to think.
At first, he really thought you were Gangrel for like a good half a minute. Almost, he really thought you was Gangrel, and then I was like, "No," I said, "Dude," I said, "That's Sam Knight." He was like, "Oh, damn."
Well, good. And,
yeah, you had him fooled for a minute.
And that was the intent behind the promo, because no one likes to hear about somebody getting hurt, and with Gangrel's injury, it was something that it was kind of heartbreaking for me because I was looking forward to being around him and picking his brain and listening to him. Because Kishi and Gangrel were a big part of my life for a long time. Right. As my trainers, I was seeing them every week and I was learning from them every week. So when I heard he was hurt, it bothered me. I reached out to him and wished him the best. But I also knew that this was the perfect time to capitalize on that. It was the perfect time to give these fans something, especially with the fact that we knew what we were doing with Dex Royal. After I knew that Dex and I were getting ready to do this match and we were going to move on to the next. It was time to make the transition. So what better way to get the people invested than to give them something that they didn't know they needed? Because the fans needed that and didn't even know it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
The way that was set up was beautiful, perfect.
And nobody planned anything, bro. Like we kind of came together and I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Dex, this is what you're going to do. And he was like, cool, I know where I need to be. Khan's like, I'm just going to go out there and be me. Cool, do all of that. And then it was like, we're first. It's showtime. We got 2 minutes. Okay, they're playing Khan's music. Okay, I got to go. And then we got out there and it was just like everything that we kind of said we were going to do, we threw out the window. Because in professional wrestling, this is a tip for younger talent. As a professional wrestler, learn to listen instead of going to the script. Because when you're trying to stick to everything you've planned A, B, C to Z, they'll never connect. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. As a babyface, if the heel is putting heat to me, boom, 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 and I never once look at little Johnny son of a gun in the crowd who's cheering for me and I'm not reaching for him, he's not connected. He doesn't care at that point because it's like, Sam's hurt, but he doesn't care. His head is down. But as soon as I look at him and go, help me, he's invested. As soon as I look at the guy who was sitting in the crowd looking like Santa Claus and go, oh, shut your mouth, Santa Claus, it's going to piss him off.
Yeah.
So because it pissed him off, got him. Yep. I got you. And once I've got you connected, you are going to watch my every move from the moment I got you to the moment I get back to the back.
Yep.
Jake the Snake Roberts said it in Beyond the Mat. It starts from the moment he walks through the curtain to the moment he walks back. And that's a forgotten art. Khan talks about the art of being a manager and the art of storytelling. So let me build on that. The art of storytelling is connection. We were all connected to Mick Foley. Mm-hmm. When Mick Foley got thrown off Hell in a Cell, we were connected. Yeah. When he got pedigreed on top of the cage, we were connected. Yep. You didn't lose that connection with Mick Foley. So why do we forget that as professional wrestlers? Mm-hmm. Oh, I just want to go out here and do 50 billion moves and nobody cares. No, man, I want to get that kid that's sitting in the front row. I want to get his attention. I want to piss his dad off. Right. So it makes his dad bring him to the next show that I'm on. So they can consistently see me get, they want to be there to see me get beat up. And every single time that I don't get beat up, I know they just purchase another ticket to the next show to see me get beat up. Mm-hmm. Or every single time they see me win, that kid's going to cheer when I win. We've got a connection. And if you start with that one, it spreads like wildfire. And that is the beauty of professional wrestling.
Because then you know, how many times are they that little kid gonna tell his friends, gonna tell everybody around him, oh my God, I was at the wrestling show and he talked to me, he was hollering at me, you know, like
personal connection. It makes you feel connected. It brings you in. And the thing is, the one thing that I always think is our show is probably the only WrestleMania that kid's ever going to go to. Mm-hmm. Yep. You've got to think bigger picture. Instead of thinking about that 6 to 8 minute window you have to get your stuff in, think about the years of memories that those kids are going to have for the rest of their life. Yeah. The art of storytelling.
I mean, as a fan, I'm a 41-year-old. You know, I have very fond memories of wrestling and guys from whenever I was, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Like, and
it's crazy, right?
Most people do. A lot of people. Everybody has some kind of memory about wrestling, even if you don't. Even if you're not like a constant fan of it. If you're just like somebody who casually every once in a while, like everybody's heard of Hulk Hogan. Everybody's heard of Ric Flair. Everybody's heard of like. Everybody almost damn near in the world, like there's certain things that people remember, and that's just that connection that you're talking about, and it just lasts with people, and it's something about professional wrestling that people, and there's a lot more people that are like, oh no, we're not fans of it, but then they're over there watching, that ain't really saying that. Then there's some of us who openly are like, oh, yes, we love this shit. Let's go. Come on. Let's get it. And like,
right. Like you can hear people talk mess about professional wrestling, but don't know who The Rock is. Exactly. Don't know who Stone Cold is.
They
like
know,
my favorite
they know somewhat storylines and stuff like.
Yeah. Like you watched it. Shut up. Everybody watched it. Shut up. And so it's kind of cool. One of my fond memories is, Staples Center, April 4th, 2005. I believe it was April 4th, either April 4th or 5th. It was the day after WrestleMania 21. It was my first live event with my friend Juan Gutierrez, and we had nosebleed seats. I was wearing my WrestleMania shirt, and I remember sitting up there, and I remember hearing the glass break. Austin walks out and hits Simon Dean with the stunner, hits Maven with the stunner, grabs 2 beers, and he's gone. And I'm sitting there like, I'm marking out, bro. Like, right. Because this was another fond memory I have. Tell you guys a quick story. So my friend Lou and I, we spent the night at Staples Center because we wanted to get tickets to the Super Show. So Raw and SmackDown Super Show. It was one of the only appearances that The Undertaker was going to be there. And so we spent the night there, and they would not let us stay on the property of the Staples Center. We had to stay across the street from the Staples Center. So we took turns staying awake. So downtown LA is not a safe place to be overnight for a couple of 20-something-year-olds. So Lou, I'm sorry I'm telling this story. If you watch this, I'm sorry, bro. Anyways, so the next morning, tickets went on sale at 10. Everybody runs across the street because you can see these people kind of looking out the window like, all right, time to and go. Open the windows and everybody just sprint, run. We weren't in line for 5 minutes and front row was sold out. Broke our hearts. Couldn't get tickets, nothing. I remember because these two guys who weren't supposed to stay on the property of Staples Center hid and stayed there. So they ended up getting in line first. And they got front row seats. So me and Lou, we were heartbroken, we were upset. So Lou drops me off at home. And a couple hours later, he calls me. He goes, hey, I got 2 tickets. I went, cool. So I remember going to that show, and I remember everything we had been through. That was the night that Rated RKO, October 3rd, Rated RKO got together, and it was The Undertaker versus Shane Helms. And it was also the night that Rey Mysterio faced Chavo Guerrero, and Rey Mysterio got taken out with a steel chair. And I remember being so locked in, going, this is something I will never forget, because I remember the struggle to get the tickets to get in the building. So, Lou, if I never told you, thank you. But that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but those are the moments I'm talking about. Like, you don't know what people will remember for the rest of their lives.
Right.
So every time you step through that curtain, give them something to remember. I don't care if it's a handshake, a high five, a hug. I don't care if you flip them off, knock their hot dog out their hand. They're going to remember that for the rest of their lives.
And they're going to tell 100 people about it.
Exactly. And then that is how you lay another stone to cement your legacy. So, yeah, I'm very legacy driven. That's Sam Knight. Very legacy driven.
So, is there anybody, since you are legacy driven, that is like the match for you, the dream match, that just whether it be past or present, like who would be your dream match?
Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is my favorite wrestler.
I love Jericho.
The man has reinvented himself so many times, and it's always worked. Mm-hmm. I just want to learn from that experience. The Rock, of course, for the entertainment aspect, because that's who I modeled a lot of my wrestling after.
Right.
Because I use the rock bottom, I do the people's elbow, I cut promos, and it's like, that's got a little bit of rock in him, But Chris Jericho is a guy that's who I want. Like, if AEW ever signs me, please give me Chris Jericho. If not, at some point I want Jericho somewhere, because even if it's just bump, 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 code breaker, bump, 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 painmaker, bump, 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 walls of Jericho, it's the prep to it.
Right.
I just want to learn from him. Yeah. I want to sit under him and learn, because he knows so much. Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, a name people don't mention often.
Right.
Workhorse. Mm-hmm. Workhorse. That's the guy I want to learn from. Chris Benoit, he knew so much. I don't care what happened in his personal life. It sucks.
Yeah.
But Chris Benoit was a guy that if you watched him wrestle, you were like this.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I just finished watching Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
When I tell you, I don't watch a lot of professional wrestling anymore, because a lot of it I'm just like, that match had me like this.
Took you back
because
to
I love
10 years old again, huh?
Yeah, because I love wrestling so much. The storytelling aspect of professional wrestling without having to talk. Give me what you can do by manipulating body parts. Make me believe. Because I watch a lot of action movies too. And one of my favorite action movies is Ip Man with Donnie Yen. Mm-hmm. And watching his hands, watching Bruce Lee, I'm stuck. I'm involved.
Yeah.
So that match had me stuck, involved. So Yeah, working guys like that. Fit Finley, William Regal.
I think Brian Danielson's one of the best there is in the ring, especially
Yes.
especially like what you said, telling story and just
Yes.
everything. He's
that whole match told a story, and if you're a wrestling fan, you understood the story they were telling. How the both of them were knocking each other clean, and neither one of them would back off. And it was not this spot. You hit a move, I hit a move, you hit a move, and we kick out. It was like watching a bar fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And both men, you kind of see them kind of stagger off and, you son of a, and they came right back at each other. Because if you're fighting somebody in a bar, unless they can legit knock you out, you're not gonna stop fighting them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's what that match was. Psychology. Psychology. And that's what I love. That's why I love professional wrestling. Psychology aspect.
And going back to Chris Jericho, he don't get the respect that he deserves about his psychology of wrestling.
No.
Not near enough.
No. Chris Jericho has been around for so long, and he's been everywhere, and guys don't get that.
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think AEW wouldn't be near where it's at now without Chris Jericho. If he wouldn't have signed with them, They wouldn't be as big as they are now. Because he carried.
I agree.
He carried them.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Jericho, it was a huge reason why AEW is where it is today, and AEW and Chris Jericho is also a huge reason why a lot of eyes got on AEW. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, the Bucks are phenomenal. Like I said, I mean, I know Matt and Nick. I've known Matt and Nick for years, and I have been a fan of them since the first time I saw them at a PWG show.
We were just watching one of their matches earlier.
Yeah, they are phenomenal talent. Kenny Omega, before he signed to AEW, I was watching Kenny Omega in Japan.
Oh yeah,
like I love Kenny Omega. You know, Cody Rhodes doesn't get the due he deserves. You know, as a performer, he's a great performer. You know, and a lot of the other talent that's over there, Miro, who I've known since Knox Pro. A lot of these other guys are great and talented workers, but Jericho was the main staple that made TNT go, okay.
Yep.
Because Jericho was there when Vince was fighting Ted Turner. Jericho was involved in all of that. And so people need to understand that Jericho doesn't just have a mind for the old school, because he's having matches with new school talent,
right,
and having bangers.
Yeah, exactly. And he's
and stepping out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, his promo work is top notch.
Yeah. Oh my God. yeah. Well, he is one of my favorite. If not my favorite, he is one of my favorite. I honestly say that Chris Jericho is my favorite professional wrestler, not just for the wrestling aspect, but for knowing how to evolve in a time where it's hard to evolve and connect. Mm-hmm. Knowing when to do certain things. He knew when to bring the Painmaker character back, because he was facing Nick Gage and everybody paid attention. He knew when to bring back Lionheart when he wrestled Juventud Guerrera. People don't remember that. Kids don't remember that unless you go back and watch WCW, because he was keeping up with these guys. Him and Eddie Guerrero, mwah. Him and Ray, mwah. Yeah. Him and Chavo, mwah. Like, oh, come on.
If WCW would have knew how to use their talent, they would be the ones that would have won. Because they had it right there. They had everybody they needed.
Everything.
Eddie was one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Eddie, Jericho, Benoit. Yeah. They were all three. And Malenko. Malenko was good. I loved watching Malenko too.
I just had a conversation last week about Dean Malenko, because I watched Malenko versus William Regal. Malenko was TV champion. Malenko was TV champion. No. Regal was TV champion, Malenko was cruiserweight champion, and me and this person were talking, and they were like, Dean Malenko's one of the only guys that can look like somebody's daddy, and be over as hell. Yeah. Like, yeah, you're right. Because he looked like somebody's daddy, like he just hopped out the minivan, was like, all right, let's wrestle. Like, you know.
Like he's about to wear some of them New Balance Grill Masters.
Yeah, straight up New Balances, bro. With the jeans with the folded up cuffs, bro. with a polo and a sports cap. Like, hey, you messing with my son? Let's wrestle.
Not even a cap, a visor.
A visor, bro, with a fanny pack. But yeah, Dean Malenko, he's one of my top 10 favorite wrestlers, not performers, wrestlers. Jericho is my guy. That's the guy I want in the dream match.
And so, I asked this pretty much almost of everybody. Like, what did your family think whenever you told them, "Hey, I'm going to be a professional wrestler"?
Well, I told you guys my dad told me it was fake, but my dad was never the person to shut my dream down.
Right.
God rest his soul. My dad passed away in 2012, but my dad was one of my biggest supporters. He was towards the end of his life. He was at all my shows, and unless he had to work, and my dad was known for traveling with me to shows so much that at his funeral, a lot of professional wrestlers from the SoCal area came to his funeral to pay their respects. Nice. Kishi knew my dad, Gangrel knew my dad, Black Pearl knew my dad. Like, my dad was the preacher of Knox Pro. So he was very, very supportive. My sister, of course, she was supportive. My sister's a singer. She ended up moving to China and to pursue her career, and then now she's living in the islands, still singing, and she's always been my backbone, my support. My mother, at first, my mom was kind of against it. My mom didn't like the violence. That's my baby. Don't hit my baby. Don't touch my baby now. That was my mother. But the night that I won the DCCW Heavyweight Championship, my mom was there. And I remember I invited her into the ring, and I remember I was kneeling in front of her, and I said, "Dad couldn't be here in flesh. He's here in spirit." I was like, "But this moment is complete because you're here with me. And I have always wanted you to be a part of my world." And she just started crying. Amazing. And it was just like, it was a great moment for me, because it's like, my mom and my dad split when I was in the 11th grade, and my mom moved from California to down south. And so she didn't get to see the origin of my career. But of course, my mom always asked me how things were. How's wrestling? No, she called it boxing. How's the boxing? Mom, I love you. If you see this, I love you. I'm not making fun of you. But how's the boxing doing? Mom, it's great. It's wrestling, but it's fine, Mom. But then it got to the point where my mom would see stuff on my social media, and it was a lot of people talk about winning championships and getting tryouts and being on TV as their crowning achievements. I promise you, when I say this, I BS you not. My crowning achievement of my career was the fact that my mom shared a picture of me doing a drop kick. That was the crowning achievement for me. Yeah. Because that was my mom going, "That's my baby." Yep. You see what I'm saying? Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to make it. I want to be on TV. Those will be great moments, and I'll write about it in my book. But that was what I needed.
Yeah, that's one of the priceless moments that can't be recreated. The first time something like that happens, going and wrestling different big matches, you can recreate those and and do those over and over and over. But something like that, that's a one time deal.
Yeah, and that was a big deal for me. So and my mom has become my best friend ever since my father passed away. She's my best friend. I talk to her every day. I message her every day, tell her I love her. But my family has been so supportive in my wrestling. Even if they can't be at shows, my sister's constantly asking me how I'm doing. And my sister's more of the physical aspect. How's your body? Mm-hmm. How are you feeling? She's constantly reacting to stuff I put on social media. My dad, I will say that my dad was my biggest fan. He would sit front row, and he would cheer against me. He was cheering for other guys. Because I was a heel and he knew. So, but when I worked babyface, working in Los Alamitos, California, tagging with my tag partner Sean. Every time I'd come out, I'd give my dad my jacket. But as I walked out, I would give him a kiss on the forehead, and I'd hand him my jacket. And everyone knew that's Sam's dad. Don't mess with him. Mm-hmm. Not that he couldn't defend himself, because my daddy knew some stuff. He knocked somebody out, but but it was just that respect. And so he was my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. It hurt when I lost him. Losing my dad taught me how to be a man and how to be a professional. And so now I not only am I trying to create my own legacy, but I'm trying to carry on his, being who I am now. So, yeah.
And since that and all the support, what would you tell up and coming young wrestlers, that want to make it in the business, and what's the best piece of advice, one or two things that you could tell them?
Have a backup plan. Always have a backup plan. Because I don't care what anybody says, professional wrestling is not for everybody. It's not. Some guys get in there, take their first bump, and they're done. And these are guys who've been fans for years. It's different than watching it on television. It's a lot of time put into it, and you have to be dedicated. I'm talking, you're going to miss birthdays and anniversaries and births of children, and you're going to miss dates and nights out with your friends, and you're gonna have to dedicate time to the gym, even when your sleep is non-existent. You're going to have to put money into making sure your car is okay enough. This is the first piece of advice I'm giving. This is all together. You have to you're going to have to eat right. Dieting is very important. You're going to have to make sure that you have a mind for this business, because the wrestling business can affect your mental health, because you are at the forefront of a lot of eyes, and a lot of people can see into you and they will find out about your personal life and use it against you. You have got to stay focused. That's number one. Number two, have fun. Listen, keep your eyes and ears open. They say keep your mouth shut. That's the old school version of it, and that's what I was taught. I say keep your mouth shut, but speak up when you need to. Not making excuses. Like, if somebody's giving you some advice about a match you've done, don't go, yeah, but, oh, I hate that. Oh, yeah, but it was his fault, and this wouldn't have happened if. Mm-hmm. I still get advice from people. I wrestled Chris Masters at Heroes and Legends, and JTG was backstage, and he watched my match. I said, you have any pointers? He said, no, that was good. Thank you, sir. Went to Chris. What did you think? Phenomenal match. Went to Congo Kong. I love Kong. Mm-hmm. One of my big brother in this business. What you think? Man, get out of here. You already know. Yes, sir. And I've been wrestling for years. Mm-hmm. But I ask guys like Joey Hodge, Cole Radrick. I ask guys like him, hey, what'd you think? And I listen to the advice they give me to be better. No one is bigger than anybody. Remember that in this business. I don't care how long you've been working. You want to learn, because the moment that you think you know it all, it's time to stop.
Right. Then you start getting complacent.
But, what do I know? I'm just old. So, but this business is always evolving. Evolve with it. That's all I got.
What was before we let you go? What would Oh, you kind of took the question I was going to ask there, so I'm trying to think of there was something else I was going to ask too. I'm not sure. Is there anything that you'd like to promote before we let you go?
Yeah. So next week I'll be traveling to beautiful Los Angeles, California, to wrestle for Amped Up Wrestling. I'm looking forward to that. I'm coming home. So LA fans, I really hope you're there, because I want to see you. November 6th, farewell to Shank. Shank Barzini's retiring from the business. So I will be there competing in Homer to say farewell to a great friend in this business. November 12th, I will be in Terre Haute, Indiana. I'm going to look dead in the camera when I say this. Terre Haute, y'all been asking me for a long time, when am I coming back? And it's been about a year and a half since I've wrestled there. So November 12th at Strive 365, Sam Knight will be taking on Kevin Giza. Don't miss your opportunity because you don't know if it's the last. And November 13th, EHF, Elkhart, Indiana, I will be in the main event against their heavyweight champion. So that's what I've got coming up that I'm going to announce.
What happened?
Can you hear us?
And
there we go.
There we go.
All right. November 20th, I'll be there for UWC. So that's going to be fun. Other than that, I have a lot of things coming up that I haven't announced yet, but I will be announcing in the near future.
And where can people find you at on social medias and YouTube and all of that?
On Facebook, The Right Hand of God, Sam Knight, or on my Sam Knight Facebook. Instagram, Knight's Honor. Twitter, Knight Domini, Domini. And YouTube, look up Sam Knight. The Right Hand of God, Sam Knight. You can find me there.
Nice.
All right. You got anything else?
Everybody that's listening, go check him out. He does awesome work, and he's got some big matches out there. I'm sure we'll see a lot more from you in the future, and we're excited to see what happens with Sam Knight, the Right Hand of God, and best of luck to you in your career, and bless your family and everybody else, and can't wait to see what comes up, and because we know Khan's gonna have a couple tricks up his sleeve for you.
Yes, sir. Always.
Road. We know he's going to.
Because the Khan man always does business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we.
All right, guys.
Hey, thanks for joining us. You're welcome. You're welcome. Come back on anytime.
Yep.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the conversation. God bless you, guys.
Best of luck.
Peace.
Peace. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that interview as much as we did. I want to give a big shout out to Sam Knight for giving us some time and joining the show. He's a great dude. We wish you luck in everything you do. Looking forward to seeing you wrestle again, and also looking forward to having you back on the show again and talking it up some more. Don't forget we're live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern with Easy Money, a sports betting show. That show's live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Come join us. We're giving out winners. Also, we're live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch with G.S.R. Gonzo Sports Room. That's our sports talk show. So join us for that. Also, keep an eye out here. Probably it'll be the next week or two. Our first episode of our new pro wrestling podcast, G.R. Will be dropping. We'll get what you got, or we'll let you guys know on our social media with the exact date and everything. But that's something that's in the works right now. Follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's where we post all information about our shows. We post all our daily picks for Easy Money, a sports betting show. So make sure you follow us on social media at Gonzo Sports Room, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, you can find G.S.R. and Easy Money, a sports betting show in podcast form on Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast. Most places you listen to podcasts, you can find us. The interview that you just listened to with Sam Knight, that'll be dropping on the podcast network here in just probably about 10 minutes or so. So if you'd like to listen to that in podcast form, please go do that. Please hit the like, follow, subscribe buttons. We appreciate your guys' support. Check out our merch store, streamlabs.com/Gonzalez Sports/merch. A couple of our t-shirts are here behind me. We got the GWR shirt back here. And we got the G.S.R. shirt. If you live around the Muncie, Indiana area and you'd like one of the GWR t-shirts, we do have some of those in stock if you'd rather just get them from us instead of ordering online. But we don't have any of the other stuff in stock right now, so that stuff you'd have to order online. We also have a donation page at that same link if you'd like to donate to the show to help the show grow. We greatly appreciate that as well. Appreciate all the support. Hope everybody has a great weekend. don't forget, we'll be live Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, with the live watch along in reaction to Sunday Night Football Colts at the San Francisco 49ers. So come join us for that. Also, November 7th, we're going to be live in Indianapolis at WCW, Heroes Helping Heroes. They're putting on a show. All door proceeds go to help veterans. So come out and check that out. We're going to be live there. Come see us. I know they announced yesterday that Rachel Armstrong's going to be on the card. She's a phenomenal young talent. I think she's going to be a star. So come out, check out that show. It's for a good cause. Support WCWO. It's ran by good people over there. So make sure you join us November 7th for that. Hope everybody has a safe weekend. We'll see you guys hopefully Sunday night. If not, we'll see you Monday morning at 11 for Easy Money, a sports betting show. Be safe. Peace.
Yeah, Dad, kind of.
Every kid gets the perfect friend, but Barney gets Ron.
Your Beebot is super weird.
Get your bots in theaters for the movie critics are calling a fun film for the whole family.
Awesome.
I thought so.
It's comedy gold with a lot of heart.
Are we having fun with me? You bet!
Ron's Gone Wrong. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing only in theaters.